Everything's good. What is up, everybody? Let me make sure we're live. You guys can hear me. Type live in the chat or whatever below. I don't know why I'm not seeing myself live. There we go. Okay, cool. What's up, guys? Today, guys, I have Jared with me. Jared has been in my program for, I believe, 10 months now. I believe he joined last May. So we're 10 months in. And Jared has absolutely just been, I'm just going to say it, murdering this whole thing. He's doing fantastic. I don't do a whole lot of interviews very often. I have interviewed Jared a few times, though. And it's cool because we're able to kind of document his entire journey through my YouTube channel and stuff, through the interviews, because he started from the very beginning when I was doing my 7-a-month program, and then he upgraded to the ERA mentorship program, and then rescale. So absolutely crushing it. So Jared, let's talk a little bit about like where you started, dude. Like in the very beginning, you were flipping couches. Let's talk about that. Let's start there and kind of tell people like why you started and why you're interested in flipping electronics, and then we'll go into the whole, $10,000 profit this month. And from what you just told me, it's actually more than that since this is the last day of February.
Yeah, so absolutely. So pretty much last year, when I was still flipping couches, I was struggling to make like my best month I was only making like $3,000 in profit, and even then that was like I had to hustle really really hard for it. So it pretty much just felt like a full-time job at that point. And honestly, I would have rather worked a full-time job looking back at it rather than doing those couches, because man, that's some back-bending work, man. It's like, even though I was only like 21 years old, right? I thought that like, oh yeah, my back will be fine. No, no. So yeah, and then also that market was just getting really saturated because Ryan Pineda, who's a YouTuber who got me in that space in the first place. Yeah, he was the one. I saw his YouTube video.
I explained your hair going there.
Oh yeah. Well, the hair is a different story. Hair is just the hair is just because I like looking different every now and then. But anyways, that was also becoming a very saturated thing in my area, and then also because I'm a full-time student, I didn't feel like driving all the time, right? Picking up these couches, right? So I would hire a team of drivers to drive for me, but that spread my margins extremely thin. And there's this one story I told in the last interview. Was like this one guy, he came in and he was browsing for more than an hour, right? Maybe take out every single couch I had in my storage unit, because I have my storage unit with the couches lined up like that, and with the couches. And it was bad weather too, so I was taking this stuff down without his help, showing him all these couches, right? And then pretty much at the end of the day, I said, "Hey, which one do you want?" Right? Something like that. And then he was like, "Oh, you know what? I was just looking." So the worst tire kicker I have ever experienced. So then after that, I asked him to leave, not in the most nicest way. I was just very frustrated. And then after that, I told my partner, I said, "Hey Tyler, it's like I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna move on to something else. Right? I don't know what's gonna be yet, but I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to something else." And that's actually, I discovered flipping electronics around the same time. That's when I found your YouTube channel, because I was searching up stuff. I was searching up new ways to make money on YouTube, right? And I remember like the year prior to that is I actually thought about flipping phones, but I got really scared of it because the information that I was finding on YouTube, right? I was really sketched out by it, and honestly, like there was a lot of holes that I didn't know. So when I found Chris's channel, and he, I learned from his free content, and then I found out about a $7 a month program, right? And I was like, screw it, what's $7? That's a cup of coffee. I'll like, let's see where this goes. And then pretty much that's pretty much everything kind of just spiraled from there. Signed up for the 7-a-month program around in May, right towards the end of my junior year in college, and then ever since that, and then got in touch with Chris, right? And then after I finished the program in about 2 weeks, he was like, hey, then I joined ERA, and then after that 6 months at ERA, now I'm in Rescale. Yeah, so I've been here for a minute now.
Yeah, but it hasn't really been that long. It's only been 10 months.
Oh yeah.
That's the crazy thing about it. It's only about 300 days.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, that's absolutely insane, right? So, you went from flipping couches. I remember whenever you joined the 7 a month. By the way, guys, for the people that are going to ask, the 7 a month program is actually now my ebook. It's actually cheaper at this point. If you want that, it actually is a starter kit now, so which is like 97. But the ebook has everything you guys need. But you started from nothing essentially. I think you made like $1,000 like your first month in to that program, and then you were really interested in the accelerator program, and I still remember you were like, man, I'm so like I don't want to drop a good amount of money, and at that time it was 2K, and you were like, I don't know, man, I don't know. I remember that, and then I invited you on to one of the calls, and you were like, all right, I'm in. Like, I'm in. I still remember that, and you've been just growing ever since, and it's so cool.
Yeah. Honestly, Chris, like, it's like the fact that like back then, right, because 2K back then to me, that felt like that felt like so much money, because like I was, it's like because I was only making 1 to 2K a month off of the couches, you know what I mean? So it's like, so at that time, right, I could not visualize 2K being attainable for me, right? So yeah, so the fact that like now I look back on that, right, I'm just like, man, it's like if I knew how much I would grow, right, I would have dropped that 2K a lot sooner. Absolutely, because you followed up with me like.
Of course I did.
I mean, that's
what I do. So I'm massive on following up in literally every endeavor I do. But yeah, I mean, like, it was, and now let's fast forward about, let's say, probably like 250 days from that point, right? Mm-hmm. And now you've made $10,000 in profit. And just so you guys know, this is not sales that we're talking about here. This is net profit. Net profit. It's not sales. Okay. I usually talk about most things in terms of profit. And you're actually over that now since we talked. So what are you at now?
I'm at after today's deals, I'll be hovering at around $12,000 profit.
And you took your family out for like a dinner and paid for it the other day, didn't you? How did that?
It was amazing. It felt great, because so we took him out to I took him out to our like the favorite our favorite restaurant growing up, right? Like as I was growing up, and I pretty much bought like everything on the menu that we wanted. It felt really good, and it just felt great to celebrate with my family because especially because at first, right, they were at first they were like, like, oh, you want to flip electronics. Right? Yeah, because I'm studying to be an engineer, right? So when they found out that I wanted to start flipping electronics, right, of course they're gonna act supportive, right? But it's like maybe they weren't always all there. So the fact that I was able to take them out to someplace really, really nice, right, was great for me. I'm gonna grab my charger real quick.
Yeah.
That was honestly one of the better, like one of the best experience I've had as a result of the decisions I made to start flipping electronics.
I freaking love it, man. So cool. What do you think? And I do want to point this out. So in the beginning, you said you were a little afraid of like flipping phones, and everybody is. But I want to point out the fact that most of your sales, I believe, aren't even phones. Is that right?
So it depends on month to month, but yes, actually, like I'll have some months where I sell more of the other electronics than I do phones, and phones would only make up about like not even 25% of my gross profit in that month. So yeah, I'm making money off of like, there's some months that like game consoles will crush it. There's some months that laptops will crush it, and there's some times they're like, where cameras will crush it, So it's I'm not like, oh, we're not one trick ponies here. We're not one trick ponies.
For real. No, I think, and that's one thing I stress big time is like you want to expand because some months the phones just aren't going to do it for you, right? And then there's a fact that like with phones, if you're only doing phones, you actually have a lot more things to worry about than you do with the game consoles and the Oculuses and things like that. I would honestly say it's actually easier to flip the other things than it is phones. What would you say about that?
I would say my favorite thing for sure is to flip phones because it's like if I post them right and they sell, they're easy to package, right? But in terms of like return on your investment, and in terms of like the ease of sell, what I mean by ease, I mean like the peace of mind of selling, right? Yeah, absolutely. The other stuff will take the cake.
Yeah, no scams, none of that other crap that comes along with the phones, right? Phones are easy to package. Unfortunately, with them, there comes the like whole scamming thing, right? But with like PS4s, Oculus Quest, cameras, you're not really going to get scammed with those. I've actually never been scammed on anything other than a phone, to be honest.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Like that's the only thing I've ever been scammed on, right? So, what do you think has been the biggest thing you've learned from the program overall? Let's do the ERA program, not Reskill. We'll get into Reskill here in a minute.
Mm-hmm. So from the ERA program, the number one thing I learned is like the one thing I can attribute most of the success I've had is take care of your customers and follow up with them. That is the number one thing I've learned. Like if you follow up with them, Chris, you have no idea like how many times like the follow up is what gets people, okay? Because like most of the times they will say no the first time, right? And then the second time they'll still say no, but the third time they'll still say no. And then all of a sudden, right, because you're in their minds so much, I have people who say no to me come to me with the same price that I give them. It's like, hey, can you still do 220? Hey, can you still do 500? It happens all the time, okay? But you got to go fishing for it. You got to sit down. You got to actually do the work for it, okay? So don't think that like it's like these people are just going to come after you after one time. To those of you who are listening, but and also right, the treating them nicely, treat them with basic respect. These are human beings that we are interacting with. You know what I mean? Because I'll tell you straight up, people know when you're trying to pull a fast one on them. People know when you're trying to make a quick buck on them. Okay. And they vibe you out on that. Right. But if you come to the meetup and if you are, honest with them and you treat them with respect and you talk to them, I guarantee you they will come back.
That's one of the things that like I don't think is and I say this quite a bit is like a lot of resellers treat their customers and things like that almost like a one night stand type deal. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy one thing from you and like we're done, right? Like they never ask for the repeat business. They never ask if they want anything, if they have anything else left to sell, right? So I know because you learned it in the ERA program, you always ask that one question that makes you more money. What is it? What's that question?
Yeah. Do you have any other electronics you're looking to sell?
Yeah. How has that impacted your business?
Well, if I'm already making $100 off of a deal, right? Another item right there, right? That can be anywhere between an extra $50 to $100 right there. That's just sitting on the table, and most of the times, right? You don't know because you never ask, right? You don't know because you never ask. And
what's cool about that is last night I bought an iPad, or yesterday I bought an iPad and a couple of phones from a guy, and then he hit me up later. Because I asked him if he had anything else, and he actually hit me up today again. And I asked him, I was like, "Do you have anything else?" And he's like, "Well, I got one of those VR headsets and you know which one it was? It was a Valve Index.
Yeah, the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail of the VR stuff,
yeah.
Right? And I was like, okay, well, I'll buy it for $500, and that thing, it's going to net me like $500 in profit by itself. It's going to make me more than the iPad did and the phones. So
yeah, my favorite thing ever is like when they come in my ad, they say, "Hey, do you have an iPhone 6?" Most of the people would just be like, we don't buy those, right? Thank you, bye, right? But it's like, but you don't know how many times they'll be like, "Oh, sorry, that's a little bit older than what we buy." do you have anything else that's a little bit newer that you're looking to sell? And they'll say something like, oh yeah, by the way, I have an iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's still, it happens all the time. And I was like, why didn't you just start with that one?
It's freaking awesome. I love it. So now let's move on to, so we talked about the ERA program. Just so you guys know, the ERA program, that's where we teach people how to do more than phones. We obviously teach the phones. That's the main staple of everything. But phones, MacBooks, iPads, smartwatches, cameras, MacBooks, the whole shebang, right? Because that's where the money is at. It's in the it's in that diversification, right? What I call the mini streams method. Every device you add on to what you buy, you essentially create another income stream for yourself. So, yeah. Now let's talk about Rescale. So Rescale is the highest tiered thing that I have. A little bit more mindset, a little bit more higher end, bigger problems for bigger profits, right? So let's talk about that. What did you learn in Rescale? Or what have you learned?
Guys, what I want to tell, I want to preface this by saying your mindset is everything. Okay. Pretty much what I learned from Rescale is you become what you are meant to be, and you become what you're meant to be based on the actions that you take and the things that you tell yourself every single day. Okay. Because when I finished ERA, right? When I finished ERA, right, I was not like, I was making a good amount of money, but I was not until I joined Rescale and learned these things from my mindset and the goal setting, the talking to yourself better, the alignment of every, like your entire life you need to be pointing towards the same direction. That's pretty much what I learned. What I learned pretty much is if you have one thing in your life that is completely misaligned with the rest of your goals, then it just makes hitting that goal a lot harder. Okay. So what I mean by that, right, is like if you're not talking to yourself properly, if you're not taking care of your body, I'm a big proponent on how you do one thing is how you do everything. Right. And goal setting helps with that. And goal setting helps with that. And also talking to yourself, telling yourself that you deserve this, telling yourself that you attract this, right? That's what I've learned. It's a term in other words, I like to use manifestation is pretty much what I've really picked up from this.
Well, the funny thing is like you and I had a call about a month ago, and you were kind of down, like you had still done, I think it was like 6,000 in profit. And whenever you left the ERA program, you were at like 4 to 5 consistently.
Yes.
And then this month, you started talking to yourself a little bit better after that one-on-one call we had. Because that's really all it is. It's like how you talk to yourself, how you show up, being consistent, training your discipline, or being trained by discipline, right? Mm-hmm. All of those things come into effect when you're really looking to grow. And then you just skyrocketed. Like it was like that was the key that you needed turned, or the thing you needed uncovered to really, I guess, give yourself permission to grow, essentially.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, that's the term you used with me as well. You said give yourself permission to grow, permission to succeed. And yeah, and actually that wasn't even last month. That was the beginning of this month, which is hilarious because that was the beginning of this month. It was like February 3rd or something like that. Right. I was like, or February 7th, it was the first week of February, and I was feeling like in the gutter. You know what I mean? And the irony is that, it's like this is my best month ever. So
So let's talk about the future, man. So what's the goal for the next 6 months?
The goal for the next 6 months is to find ways to maintain this a six-figure. So in six-figure month, that's about $8,300 a month. Right. That's a six-figure month. So what I'm trying to do is I want to maintain that for the next 6 months. And then with that money for the next 6 months, I want to see if I can go into different ventures. Yep. Okay. So right now is the time where I start stacking the bread a little bit. Right. I had my time celebrating. Right. I had my time enjoying myself. Right. So because I actually graduate college the end of this semester, which is in May. So that's within the next 3 months, right? So then after that, it's just going to be stacking the money, learning about new stuff, right? And then using this money to using the skills that I learned from ERA and rescale, right? The mentality and the soft skills, right? To go into hopefully another business, or maybe go into a career in which I can use those skills that I've learned.
So that's one thing that Rescale is actually meant to do as well. Is it's meant to build you up to the point where you can eventually exit into a higher end opportunity. Because I always saw reselling as a stepping stone myself. I still believe it is that. Like, is it like you can maintain it for a good while, but after a while, you get worn out.
Get tired.
You get tired.
Mhm.
And so that's what I did, right? I started a marketing agency out of my reselling company. I started a coaching business out of the reselling. I started multiple different things out of it. But the skills that I learned along the way, holy crap! Like, you're stacking these skills, right? Like, ever since you joined ERA Rescale, you've learned how to run Facebook ads, how to run Instagram ads, how to run Google ads, how to track your KPIs, how to understand math and like how it works and computes in the business world,
Oh
right?
yes.
Like, that was a huge thing for you, following up all of the lead generation, like these skills that you acquired compared to like how much you spent. It's probably like it's nothing, right? Like,
I mean, think about it this way, right? It's like, yeah, it's like, it's like after like, like this 1 month, right, would have already paid for both of the programs I was in twice fold, So, and you're surrounded by a great group of individuals who want not only they want they want you to succeed. Everyone in there is there to support each other. You know what I mean? That chat is I love that chat so much because it's like when you see other people hungry, it makes you hungry as well. Because I'm a big proponent of it's not enough, in my opinion, to compare yourself to yourself, right? You want to strive. You want to strive for people. You want to strive for people who right now are doing better than you are. Okay, and that's the only way you're gonna grow. Okay, the combination of the two, oh man, you'll be unstoppable.
well, Jared, I appreciate you coming on, man. Is there anything you would like to tell the people watching? Just so you guys know, we are accepting people into the accelerator program, which is the ERA program right now. Only about 2 to 3 a week, though. That's about how much we can handle based on orientations and things like that. But is there anything you'd like to tell people that are like brand new? Because you came in brand new, right?
Yep.
What would you tell those people about working with me, with Matt, and within the community itself?
First of all, right, Matt and Chris are exceptional teachers. Okay, everything you learn in every single call, you can apply right away. Okay, and finally, let go of the fear. Don't be scared. Okay, because what's the worst that can happen? Seriously, the worst thing that can happen is you're stuck in the same position as you were last year.
Ooh.
Okay, so yeah, like seriously, there is absolutely, like, you have to. I think I said this in the last interviews too. Well, it's like if you come to the classes, you watch the reviews, right? You have to try and not make money. You have to try and not make money. Like, if you're, of course, you're gonna sit on your butt all day, right? You're not gonna make any money, right? But it's like, come on, guys. There's just really not much to lose here. Okay, in reality, right? Is like, you have great teachers, you have a great community. Everyone wants you to succeed. And Chris will get on your butt, right? Because he has all your sheets. He has all your sheets. I'm like, hey man, it's like, I noticed you're not filling in your sheets right now. I noticed you're not doing this amount of leads, right? And yeah, I guess the final thing I can say is you gotta help yourself. You know what I mean? Right? It's like Chris and Matt, even though they're exceptional teachers, they cannot put the work in for you. Okay, so come in, get ready to do the work, and I guarantee you will succeed.
Yeah, that's one thing we did in our program, is we made it very, very difficult to not make money. I mean, those console calls with Matt alone, where he's sourcing for everybody,
Oh yeah, come on now.
Like,
Come on now. Yeah.
like literally sending deals to you, like like how do you not make money that way, right? Like, I think that's actually one of the best things we ever implemented was number one, we are helping you guys make money, and number two, we're training your eyes on how to find profitable game consoles very quickly. I mean, very, very quick. I think you had another call with Matt when you got into Rescale too. So that was probably, that was probably really good too. I don't know. But we just redo it again, right? Retrain the eye. Right?
Oh, it definitely was. Guys, like he's not exaggerating. Matt will literally like on his console calls, he will literally put your zip code in and he'll help you find deals. Like I said, if like there is no excuse here to not make money. There is no excuse.
I love it. All right, Jared. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing this. This is the fourth time. It's love seeing your progression through, the past 10 months. I think I'm going to make that, a little playlist inside of YouTube by itself because it was great. But for anybody who's interested in getting into the ERA program, which is the accelerator program, feel free to drop apply below. And then on YouTube, whenever this is up for the replay, you guys will there will be the whole application thing in the description below. So make sure to check that out. But yeah, appreciate it. Jared, thanks for coming on, man. And can't wait to see what you do in the next couple of months, man.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.